Well, this isn't the way you're used to seeing stuff. So, as you might guess, things are being moved around in here. One of the reasons things are being moved around is that I have new stuff that I need to work on and new stuff that I need to do. And primarily that centers around audio. And because that centers around audio, I had to move my audio mixer over here onto the desk where I can actually get to it and use it to modify the mix in real time. So that got moved. And in the process of doing that, I did a bunch of recabling. And in the process of recabling, somewhere along the line, I managed to get an RF source near one of the cables, which is acting as an antenna. So now there's a buzz in my audio feed. And I've tried to remove it as much as possible for this recording, but I still have work to do on that. I can still hear it. I don't know if you can. If you can, I'm really sorry. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's your imagination. It's not actually there. But anyway, let me go and get this fired up over on the Discord, and we'll get this up and running. So anyway, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all of that sort of shit. Hit the little bell icon and all those things. Where is the appropriate? There it is. All right. So there we have it. There we got the stream fired up, and what was I doing? Oh yeah. Yeah, so last week I did kind of a half-hearted, half-arsed stream, but yeah, that was a bad week. This week things are a little better. As I have mentioned, well, this is for the people that are just now joining the stream. As I mentioned earlier in the video, as I was talking to just the YouTube subscribers, because, you know, there's always exclusive content for one or the other. But I have been reorganizing stuff. I've been moving things around. And one of the reasons that I'm doing that is because I have got music to record. And the music that I need to record is going to need me to have I'm going to need to have my mixer on my desk over here so I can get to it and I can modify the mix in real time. And if you recall, I used to have my camera over here and I used to have my mixer over there, and I had to stretch and crane over to turn down the microphone so I could blow my nose or whatever. And now I have moved this over here where I can actually get to it, and all of my knobs are right here where I can reach them and modify them in real time as necessary. So that was part of it. And in order to put my mixer here, I had to move the monitor that was sitting here someplace else. And the only place I had to put it was over there. And when I put it over there, I had a problem. And that problem was it was sitting in front of the camera. So I tried to modify the camera and move stuff around, and finally just said, fuck it, I brought the camera out here. And I kind of like this anyway. I feel like now the camera is in a better location in terms of actually pointing the direction that I want it to point, and you know, I'm still in shot no matter where I go. I can lean all the way back, I'm still here. I can lean all the way forward, I'm still here. And having moved that monitor, I can now put my drawing tablet right in front of me again, which is nice, because I used to have it off to the side, and it was kind of tilted. So that should make things a little bit easier. And anyway, we are now going to proceed once again. Hey, I got to blow my nose, which means I can just... and then click the microphone back on. Right here, no stretching. Isn't that awesome? I fucking love that. So anyway, we have been working on landscapes for the past 6 weeks now. This is our 7th week working on landscapes, and this is the little field that I did at the toward the end of last stream. And what I want to do is I want to kind of I want to kind of combine our two concepts here, and I want to put a rock over here into this. I want to put a rock into this field. So we're going to fire up a new color layer right there. And yeah, what I want to do with that new color layer is I want to come into this space here. And I want to take a gray of some sort. I want to do sort of a bluish gray, something that's kind of in a slate range. And I want to do sort of the shadow. The shadow is going to be like that size. And let's use the do we want to do the blob method or do we want to do the selection method? Let me check something. Yeah, I've got pen pressure opacity and I want to turn that off. Using a hard brush, which is what I want to do. And now right in here, right in this space, right about rocks rolled downhill. So because rocks rolled downhill, we can see that there's kind of a slope leading down here and there's a sort of depressed spot here. So if we kind of make the edge of the rock there, let's put our stone in this area. Having done that, let's see where that sort of occupies the space. Okay, it's right there. And we're going to concentrate on just this one stone. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to sharpen up this edge. And that edge as well. So now we've got this kind of a rock that's sitting in this field. And the light is kind of coming from over here. You can see that it's coming from off to the side, and let me just kind of throw a little sort of sun area right up here. It's shining the light down in sort of this direction here, okay? So it's shining down and to the side, all right? And over here we've got some kind of dark shadows, and over here we've got some little overhanging areas and some areas that are sitting a little bit lower than others. And this is kind of a falling off over here where things are kind of rounding over. So let's take that out of there now. And we'll deselect that, and let's here. And what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to kind of warm it up a little bit. Take it a little more in a warm direction. I want to kind of do, here's the a brush first of all. Let's go to a brush. We'll bring that size down a little bit. And now this is where I want kind of pressure opacity, and I want a nice soft brush. So here I kind of want to lighten things up a bit. So, and actually this needs to have transparent pixels. So it's gonna kind of Here's sort of the mid-tone area here. And I want to think about the form of this rock, what shape it is. I want to kind of trace the contours of it. Now we want this to get a little brighter. I want to go in a little bit more of a direction. This is kind of a brighter color. We just want to take that a little bit less. Down the rock. Now we want to again desaturate and take that farther up. And I just want to think in terms of just thinking in terms of how exactly the light is striking this rock. Now we want to kind of blend that in, give that a sort of a shape and a shade. And we back out of that. It still looks kind of out of place. But I think part of that is that we need to come down underneath here and we need to take dark shade here to do a why is that not does not come together? What is going on? Oh, that's the blender. Back to the brush. What we do is we want to kind of put a shadow. Dark set. Actually, I don't want this actually on the grass layer. The shadow is being applied over top of the grass. So let's create a new raster layer on top of that. We'll put our shadow on that. It's kind of shadow there, but that shadow. Go a little bit lighter. A little bit there. Now, see, we've got something. It's starting to look like there's something here, but it's not going quite the way I want. Um, we should have a little bit of reflected light. We should have a little bit of light reflecting up to the. It should be a kind of okay. I think that is. And back off from that. We're no, we're getting somewhere. Um, let's do some tone correction on hue, saturation, and luminosity. Take it more in a blue direction. Desaturate. Like that. Darker and saturation up a bit, down a bit. Some so feel like here we kind of sort of we need more detail in this area. So it's kind of interesting shape. Using this sort in terms of getting something approximate shape. And let's go. Kind of take that. Some under was thing. get rid of some of the obvious. Back up from that. Now we're starting to get something, and it feels like the reason we're starting to get something is that I started with a kind of a broad notion of what I was doing. And using that broad notion, oh, it's be off. Place another rock alongside another rock. What I want to do with this one is what I want to do with this rock is here we're again going to turn on the picture. And we're going to lock our transparency. Then we're going to, you know what? Should have marked my hardness down on that too. Obvious way to go about this is to create two different brushes for this. But instead of doing that, I want to get used to understanding qualities of the brushes, make it useful for these particular cases. Now, here we have another rock. Reasonably boring. And what we want to do now is go back to our brush and smaller. Rough that in. How that's turning. get something akin to a shape. There. Blender. White line. Not too heavily. Back off from that. That doesn't look right. There is too much contrast there. So, a little bit. That out. And then now we want to come underneath of that, new layer, the shadow. So put that in there. Those come up under that. Here, this to kind of bit darker, and this edge. Now we'll back out from that, and now it looks like we have two rocks. That actually does look almost like we have two rocks. That needs to be darker. So darken that up. And clear that up there. Back out from that. That actually looks semi-decent. That's got a bit of a kind of shadow this because that other rock's in the way. Same time, we want to shadow this because it's on the back of that rock. Okay. Shadow that. If we back out from that, now, we're looking like something. It's still not great. Okay, I'm still not happy with this, but it is beginning to kind of. That looks like a couple of rocks sitting in a field. I mean it looks more like them if you make it smaller. If you make it small enough, it looks pretty good. But you zoom in closer, you're like, man, that's a piece of shit. But that's the direction that I'm trying to go with this, is just to try and take this a little bit farther to to give this still doesn't knit together. It still feels like it's the objects do not feel like they have object shape. It's looking at it and thinking, what the fuck is that? You can kind of figure out, oh, that's supposed to be a couple of rocks in a field. But it doesn't really look like rocks in a field. You don't look at it and go, oh, rocks in a field. You look at it and go, what the fuck is that? And then you think about it and you go, oh, it's rocks in a field. And it kind of looks like a 4-year-old drew it. Which, it's just kind of, that's kind of my style at this point, is shit that looks like a 4-year-old drew it. But that's there's still frustration here when I get like to the outside of this. I back up from this and I look at it and I go, hey, this almost looks like I drew some rocks in a field, but it doesn't. But it's almost, I can feel the almost. The almost is like it's getting there, and that's really the important thing, is to see the progress happening, to see the almost happening. And it's like I'm looking at this and I'm going, this space in here, this bit, yeah. But let's turn that off. This bit right in here, I don't like how I did that. I feel like doing that is a step in the right direction, like it's a thing I should have done, but I don't feel like I did it right. I feel like there's something I'm missing in that. And one of the frustrations that I have, and this is a frustration whenever you're self-training in anything, is that something is wrong, but you don't know what it is, and you don't know what the magic word is to find the answer. It's like this is what this actually is. Since I have a 3D background, I can look at this and I can go, this is ambient occlusion. What I'm trying to depict here is the ambient occlusion of two things that are close to each other, and there's no room between them for the light to get in. The ambient light can't get there. It is occluded. And I know that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, but I also know that if I search for ambient occlusion, I'm going to get 8 million rant blog posts about how nobody does ambient occlusion right in 3D graphics. So that's not going to help. I don't know the magic word that is going to get me to what I need to know to make this look right. So I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up sitting on YouTube and typing, how does I paint rocks? And I'm going to look at a whole bunch of different videos on that. I actually have a 10 video playlist on how to paint rocks, and I'll link that. This is the 35-minute mark, so I'll put that playlist up here in a card, so you'll be able to see it. It'll sit right up here next to my microphone, I think. You never know. YouTube might have changed everything about the fucking site in the last who knows how long since I put this video up. The rate I'm going, it'll be like 3 years before I'm worth watching. Which is fine. That's fine. I just recently had my YouTube channel's anniversary. I've been on YouTube for 16 years. So, yeah, I've got I got a bunch of videos that got several thousand views. And I mean, total, I've probably removed like 300 videos from YouTube. But they're not on this subject. They're not this same basic thing. I feel like I'm making good progress on giving the objects meaningful form, and there is a there was kind of an aha moment there where I was like, you move from larger to smaller, and that's like, if you were painting, that's the only way you could do this. You would have to do the big thing, and then you would have to do the smaller things next to it and around it. And as you got more and more detailed, you'd have to do smaller and smaller things because you couldn't paint a big thing behind stuff. So you have to do like these kind of broad swatches of stuff, and then inside of that swatch you go, okay, now there's the detail here. So I think starting with the shadows and moving upward, there's a phrase I've heard here and there. People have talked about painting light, where it's like you start by first you put the objects in space, and then you paint the light onto the objects, because that's how it actually works. That's how you see stuff. The objects are there, and then the light hits them. So you paint them with nothing but ambient sources, and then you add your spot sources to have the full situation. And I feel like starting with the large strokes, with the broad strokes, the general sense of here's the rock, and then going, okay, here's kind of, this is where the highlights start, and that kind of goes around the core shadow right there. I don't have a whole lot of reflected light on this. I should have on it. I tried to do some reflective light, but it didn't go too well. I didn't do any kind of rim lighting either. But basically, starting with the shadows and moving to the highlights, I think, is a productive way of doing stuff. The jury's still out for me on the start with the selection process. I'm also not really happy with the Rock 1 main. Is that Rock 2? Rock 2 shadow. I really need to practice what I preach on stuff and keep all of my layers labeled properly. Rock 1 shadow. Come up here over top of the color copy, which is like That was an earlier cut at doing the grass field. It didn't look good. I didn't like it. So I tried again. I think I did better the second time through. And what I started with on this was painting the grass onto the ground. I started with just ground, just dirt, and then I painted the grass onto it. And I think that actually gave me some pretty good results. I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them into a folder. And we'll call it rocks. That'll be grass. That'll be ground. That'll be sky. Should do some clouds. Clouds would probably be done the exact same way. You'd start by going, okay, or would you do that in reverse? Would you want to do the clouds by starting with the highlight? You want to just kind of, first of all, so first of all, you would want to drop the hardness down, turn the pen pressure opacity, kind of. Just kind of have a, and then just sort of same. That's the workflow to have, is to just kind of gradually lower the size. And then that's a surprisingly good cloud just for. Let's try that again. You got kind of the main body of the cloud. You don't try to get too detailed with it, and then you drop that down. And you just kind of go through and go. And just as you drop it down, just sort of fill in the middle. And then that actually is not a bad looking cloud. I do feel like it should have some, we go large and stay soft, just kind of, if we once again go protect transparency and just kind of bottom. I don't like that strong dark spot. Just kind of go along the bottom here. No, that's not really working out so well. What if I used a much larger brush? What if I went very large and just kind of swooped or twice down the bottom? That makes some surprisingly good clouds. And then if I go a bit darker and larger. That comes out surprisingly well in terms of making some clouds. I'm not sure how well that'll work out as like a general process. I feel like this cloud over here, man, I really do need like feel like this cloud ended up a lot better than this cloud. But it ended up really kind of working out, and that's the one where I didn't know what I was doing and I wasn't even trying to do a good job. This one where I actually like tried to do it better, it came out worse. And I find that a lot, like the first couple of times that I try to mess with something. The first few times that I try to do something, it's like the first time I go, hey, that works well. And then I try it again and it doesn't work out as well. And it's like that's the whole Dunning-Kruger effect thing, you know? You know a little bit and you think you know a lot and you have to go, no, I don't know shit. You have to remind yourself of that. And that's kind of frustrating, but I actually ended up with a decent cloud here. I feel like the border here should be kind of fuzzier. I'm not sure what to do about that. I don't want to think about that right now. I will think about it tomorrow. I need to spend more time actually working on this stuff. I need to put in more practice hours. It's really what it comes down to. And I'm gradually pounding this into my skull. I am gradually pounding into my skull that I need to do more than like 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there during the week. I need to actually book some time to sit down and go, it's time to practice. It's time to work. And I haven't been doing that. And I should be doing that. It's all everything's a matter of how much time you spend doing. Your ability to paint is defined by the amount of time you spend with a brush in your hand. Your ability to write, how much time do you spend with a pen in your hand? To draw, how much time do you spend with a pencil? You want to play an instrument, how much time do you spend sitting at the instrument playing? You know? How much time do you spend in deliberate practice, in deliberate effort to get better? And I'm making myself do that an hour a week, which has worked out well. What I need to do is I need to keep pushing, and I need to get myself to do like several hours a week, and then to do like 15, 20 hours a week. Really make serious progress. And there is progress being made. There is stuff being accomplished here. It's just not. It's not as much as I would like, and that is the frustration. But that's man. I made 2 clouds and 2 rocks in an hour. In an hour. And the lesson to take away from that is that there's this absolute delusion that non-artists have about how long art takes and how quickly art can be made. And it can't be made quickly. It can't be produced in high volume at high speed. Even when you get good at it, once you get like really good at art and you can dash out a quick sketch and that quick sketch looks fine the first time you do it, it's still several hours to color it and to tweak everything and to get everything together properly. All of this stuff takes time. It takes a shocking quantity of time. It's like you see people that do a picture and they say this took like 40 hours, and you're like, oh, well, you know, it's like they looked at the clock and then they looked at the clock when they were done, and they're like, well, you subtract the 2 times. No, it's 40 hours actually sitting at your fucking tablet doing the fucking art. And that's because that's just how much time it takes. You know, the other thing that comes out of this is, being that this is a human being working on the task, a person cannot put brush strokes on the canvas faster than a person can put brush strokes on the canvas. It's just that simple. You can only do like so many brush strokes a minute. And even when you're good and you get fast, it doesn't end up being that many. So there's a lot of work that goes into these things. These art takes days and weeks and months. And it's not all just sitting around staring at it. It's actually like digging in and doing fine, detailed work. It's the exact opposite of what it is with software development, which is one of the... I mean, as a longtime software developer, 90% of my work is staring at the screen thinking about what it is I need to do. When it actually comes time to do it, you know, you type like 5 lines of text and there it is, and either it works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then you start staring at it again. But the overwhelming majority of the time is just sitting there looking at your work going, how do I fix this? But with art, it's the exact opposite. All of your time is spent fixing, and you get all zoomed in, working on like this rock. And you work on that for like half an hour and you don't even look at the whole thing for like that whole time. So this is very kind of antithetical to the way that my career unfolds and the way that I typically think of work going. Which probably makes it tougher for me. But these are important lessons. They're important things to recognize. I'm going to end up compiling all of these and having to like explain that when you start making art, you know, you think that you just sit down and draw a picture. No. You're going to sit down and you're going to spend 40 hours staring at this fucking picture that you're fucking working on. And if you're lucky, you'll actually finish it and go, yay! And then somebody's going to go give you $20 for it. And you know that's a week's work. $20 is not a week's work. Start to understand why art is expensive. Anyway, we're closing up on an hour anyhow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut down the video. I'm going to remind you, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all of that shit. And if you're watching the stream live, I'm going to be hanging around for a while longer and just like interacting and fucking around with the rest of my crew, the rest of my legion. So, yeah, that's where things are. So, okay, bye.